Hey everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Wildland Farmstead Podcast.
Attempt 3. The
Yes,
first one.
this is our third attempt, but you didn't have to know that. So I'm Sarah,
I'm Jared.
and this podcast is going to be about our farm, our wood shop, and our values within those two enterprises. And this first podcast specifically is, going to talk about how we got into farming and how we got into woodworking, and then sort of our mission for the farm and the wood shop as a whole. So I'm going to act as the interviewer and be posing the questions to Jared. I am going to chime in from time to time, but for the most part, he's like the master farm.
Next.
Yeah, that's a weird word. He's the only words I can think of are like derogatory. Master boss.
Wow.
He's the brains behind the farm and the wood shop. He plans most of the farming things. So I'm just gonna be asking him the questions, and of course I'm gonna chime in. But for the most part, I'll be posing the questions to him and letting him answer. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, Jared, how did you come to be interested in farming?
It takes me back to being a wee lad. No. So
as we've recorded this, I'll just say that every time we've only gotten funnier. So lucky for you guys.
So whenever I was growing up, I always loved to hear about the stories of my grandpa on his farm, and it was all about how they grew vegetables and how his mother made soap, and they split the wood and he cooked on a wood stove, and had all of their needs and means of production right there at their fingertips. And that just became a very romantic idea in my head, and I just kind of got...
You did not grow up on a farm.
I did not grow up on a farm. Yeah, no. I didn't grow up that way.
I did.
She did. Not completely like my grandfather did, but yes, on a dairy farm, you did. And so the way he talked about it, just that really kind of simple life, just always sounded really romantic to me, and I just got the idea, well, when you have a farm and you're living that way, there's just really not much else you need at that point in time, and it just kind of always sounded nice to me. As I got older, I just began to learn the ways of the world, I guess, and once I figured out how money is created in our system, and how a lot of our systems, a farming system, monetary system, economic system, whatever, really function, really made me uneasy about how it all fits together. And it made me come to realize, like, one, money is not what we think it is. And money is just debt. It's money is loaned into existence through the banks. The banks manufacture money. And it took me a while to learn and understand and accept that as a fact. But once you do, you really start to see how our system today is, in fact, not really capitalism, how most people think. It's creditism. And because money is loaned into existence, it is on credit. And because that credit has to be serviced, you have to get on this rat race of continually
having to grow, and it tries to force prices lower and lower, and it does create some wild incentives in our system, and I think
that many people have come to see, like, well, this is not good, but I don't think they really understand that that's what it is pointing at, is our money is not money, it's actually debt. It is debt. Our money is debt.
It's not, for the most part, based on or backed by anything real.
Yeah, it is. Yes, right. And so I came to the understanding, well, when you have a farm, when you have real assets and you produce your own real needs, it puts real wealth into your hands and into your life, you know. And so, because a lot of our systems are house of cards, and we call them stable, it became, you know, like I said, it was a romantic idea of owning a farm whenever I was younger, and then it became, well, having a farm insulates you from a lot of these different systems that have become exploitive. Mm-hmm. And then now it's kind of moved into like, well, we really want and need an income for our family, really. So it just kind of has morphed. My interest in it has kind of went from one thing to another, but it's only really grown as the years have gone on. So more of this would be fun, to like viewing it as a necessity and a really beautiful and productive way of life.
So
for me,
in case
for us,
yeah. So in case all this house of cards topples to the ground, you have some things in your hand that aren't just cash.
You have, yeah. Yes, you have real tangible things to feed you and clothe you and keep you warm and house you.
In case the price of eggs at the grocery store goes to $8 a dozen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I digress. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's sort of your intro into farming. How did you get into the woodworking? How did that come about?
So we have this idea of owning a farm, and we want to get our farm off the ground in a very particular way. And we like choose the hardest path sometimes, I feel. So we didn't want to bring in compost because we haven't found a reliable, affordable way to bring in any kind of compost.
We didn't just want to till up the soil and throw some fertilizer on it either.
Yeah.
To build up the soil.
We're not trying to just throw some 10-10-10, okay, we're good, call it good. No, we're trying to actually build real sustainable you gotta, I guess I think of the soil as like a bank. You want to deposit water into it, you want to deposit nutrients into it, you want to have them hold all of those things for you until they are needed. We're not just looking at it as we're just throwing 10-10-10 and going about our merry way. And so we want to do it no-till. We wanted to do it with permaculture in mind. We wanted to do it with no debt. And we didn't want to grow microgreens and salad greens and all of these things like that I feel like it probably would allow us to be able to turn a quicker profit. But we're really focused on storage crops and perennial crops that really take a really large building up of the soil to do so, and years to get fruiting trees into production. So we needed an income source that we wanted to be at home. We wanted to be at home together as a family and homeschool our kid. And so, and we didn't want to sell t-shirts. And
we wanted to find something that could still like fit into our
value system, I guess.
And we had like these tree trimmers come and drop a bunch of trees because that was an affordable way to bring in
mulch.
Some fertility. Mulch, and at one point they had also dropped just like whole logs.
Yeah.
And we had kind of both been interested in wood carving, and so we sort of started to have this idea to use this wood that was just scrap wood basically to the tree trimmers to maybe make some things out of.
Paying to go dump it somewhere else.
Yeah, the tree trimmers were paying to dump it somewhere else.
They have to pay to get rid of it.
So we had this thought that we could potentially turn this into sort of something that could help us be at home at least part-time so that we could still work on the farm.
Yeah, so we could fund the farm, we could fund our lifestyles until we kind of bridge that gap.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how it was born. And we were doing carving things, and we're like, man, if we got a couple of other tools, it could really allow us to be able to expand our offerings and make a lot more stuff to service debt faster. Yeah.
And also there were a lot of ways, and we're starting to sort of get into some of those ways that we could fold the wood shop into the farm.
Yeah.
And also try and make the wood shop sustainable. Like we have a ton, Jared turns most of the pieces on the lathe, so we have a ton of shavings.
Yeah.
So what we're about to get into is using those shavings to grow mushrooms.
Yeah, and then our next step would be we're doing some investigative work into building a gasifier system for all of the other bigger chunks of wood that really I can't really turn with, I can't really do anything else with. And so we can throw them in a wood stove to heat, cook, and whatnot in our house. But we also want to be able to use a wood gasifier system to allow us to produce power.
To power the shop.
Yeah, to power our shop.
Be our goal.
So we would be solar powered, but not with solar panels. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's sort of the background into the farming and the wood shop. I guess the next thing that we wanted to touch on is sort of the overarching mission for the farm. Like what we've kind of touched on it a little bit. Like, but what are the things that are important to us here on the farm? What are our, the values that we try to abide by, and what is our goal for the farm in the long term?
Yeah. Like what I think I've said before, I think we fit in almost every buzzword category. We don't till, so we're no till. We don't use any sort of pesticides, herbicides, none. Not even neem oil, not even organically approved. We don't do that. We focus on building up our soil and selecting healthy plants. We are saving our own seeds. So we're seed savers. We are, I guess we would be called permaculturists too. We are doing all of this and all of these things with a permaculture, through a permaculture lens.
And that would be because I would say our ultimate goal is to create a farm that takes care of itself. Like we don't want to have to go out and put neem oil. We don't want to have to baby plants or baby animals.
No.
We want to have a very passively productive farm.
Yeah. And it is really hard to get there. And that was another reason why we knew that, we weren't going to be making income from the farm immediately, because our goal wasn't to, most of the farmers, gardeners I know, Not saying anything about them. Respect to everyone. You know, they do their seed catalog or ordering, and they're bringing in seeds every year. Every year. Which is cool, it's fine, but that's just not what we endeavor to do. You know, we're trying to breed local seeds, local varieties that are adapted well to our conditions and that don't need real maintenance. I mean, we're still, you know, doing that with our animals too, you know, so
those sorts of things take a long time.
Yeah, they take a long time, and to work a lot of bugs literally out of your system. It does, and we're still doing that, and we
still do order seeds sometimes, but in general,
that
just wasn't our goal. And we do save a lot of our seeds. I think more than half of the seeds that we just did some of our spring planting, and more than half of the seeds that we planted were seeds that we had saved.
Yeah, and only time really now we buy seeds really is if there's like a particular variety we're trying to add to the genetic mix.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we've never grown poppies, but we're trying to like get poppies grown, or you know, some new plant. That's just kind of what it is now. It's not. I feel like every single year our seed order has like halved half of what it was the previous year, and this year and there's some plants I don't know if we'll ever not buy carrots, only because wild carrot and Queen Antilles, they cross so well, this is probably another subject for another day, but they just cross so readily, and I don't know if we'll ever not.
Queen Anne's lace. That's not the killer one.
No.
Okay.
No.
That's
well,
poison hemlock.
Some people mistake it for that.
Yeah, it looks the same.
But it's not. Yes.
So they cross so readily, so you
wild
have
carrot.
A hard time breathing.
Yeah, you have a hard, and we have right here on our road. There, it grows wild and it blooms in the summer. Yeah, and so they cross so readily, and you have to keep them separated by a mile, which that's not
possible.
That's not happening.
But anyways, this is a huge caveat.
Yeah. Big. Yeah, we.
So we save our seeds because the goal of our farm is to have a farm that requires very little help from us.
Yeah, we want it to be as self-sufficient as possible, in every way, and I think that would be a really, you know, in the long term, it will be a really big boon to our community by us having varieties that have been so tested in this environment for I don't know how long, you know, for a long time.
But it just takes time.
It does take time. Yeah. So did that answer the question of our farm?
I think
so. I guess we can get into more of it in the next episode.
So the next episode, we're going to be talking about like a farm overview. So we're going to go a little bit more in depth about what we have going on here at the farm, the different sections of the farm, and then the plans that we have for the future of the farm, the different things that we want to install and get up and running. And then in episodes beyond that, we're just going to be talking, you know, about more specific things on the farm, specific projects we have going on in the wood shop, our different thoughts and opinions about what's going on in the world, about mowing your lawn. That's a big one. That's going to be a whole episode.
Oh, man.
And just, you know, different things about farming, which inevitably runs into our worldview. So I'm sure we'll be discussing our thoughts and opinions as well. And if you guys have something you want us to discuss, like, put it in the comment section and we'll look it over.
Yeah, no promises, but yeah, definitely leave comments.
Yes, no promise. But yeah, that's it for the first episode, and we thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to try to do this at minimum once a month, but it could be more than that. We'll just have to see how
busy people.
How things go. And we do have, you know, more content other than podcasts on our YouTube page. We're also on Instagram. So if you want more content, you can find us in all those places.
Word.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Till next time.
Toodles.